Greetings, BookTube. Today I will finally do my review of Breeder by Douglas Clegg. I don't have the book with me right now because it was a library book and I returned it back to the library in case anyone wants to read it. Now, so this is, I've said this before, this is only my third non-Stephen King adult horror novel. And I made a mistake in my last book review of a horror novel in that I gave too much of it away. Because this book is only around 310 pages, maybe 300 if you discount the blank pages, blank and title pages, it would... because of how short it is, it's best that you go into this book as blind as possible. I'm not going to give too much of the book away, but the gist of it is, so this book was published in 1990. It was only Douglas Clegg's second novel. The gist of it, the book is a young couple who recently got married, and then a woman had a miscarriage. Her name's Rachel, and her husband's name is Hugh. Are given a house by Hugh's father, so Rachel's father-in-law. He gives over one of his properties to them to live in, and Hugh's father has a shady past with the happenings in that house, and because of his past associations, including, and you'll see this throughout the novel, a homeless woman who lurks around the area. So he has some shady past associations with people, and Hugh doesn't know, Hugh himself, the husband, does not know a lot about this. And from the front cover that you can see on the book, and by the way, this house that they're living in, it's in a suburb in D.C., Washington, D.C. And this house is haunted, has demonic energies, and has a very, very shady past with some very how do I explain this? Some very checkered a very checkered past with some very not so nice individuals doing really, really bad things in it, including the father-in-law. That is all I can get into by the plot. They're trying to start a family. Rachel is a successful lawyer. Hugh graduated from law school but is struggling to get a job at a law firm. So there's that. And you can see from the cover, it is, and I have to be cryptic because I cannot get in too much. This novel is a pregnancy horror. And at first you might think it looks like a Rosemary's Baby knockoff. It's not. It goes in its own path, but at first it seems that way. But it is actually its own unique book. I'm not going to rate this book. The book reads a little bit like if you watch a B-tier horror movie. So it is an enjoyable one-time read, and then that's it. I have no personal objections to the book except for maybe how short it is. So I'm not going to rate the book. So it's just like watching a cheap horror television film, B horror. The descriptions of garbage and urban decay are quite disgusting. It makes you want to pinch your nose a little bit. So I'll give the book credit for that. That was the description of the grittiness of urban decay, of buildings falling into neglect, of garbage, of homeless people. Yeah, it really paints an unflattering picture of the capital of the United States. So I'm not going to rate it because the book is just too short. I didn't have a lot to take away. Was I scared? Was I frightened? Not really, but there was a lot of build-up. So it was, in the beginning, a little bit of a slow burn. And what I mean by slow burn, you can actually see the oncoming terror. You can actually see the oncoming climactic moment that's happening. But the main character, Rachel, and Hugh seem very oblivious to the happenings going on around them. And also in this shady house, by the way, I forgot to mention earlier, there is a downstairs tenant. So the house is like 2 apartments. The downstairs apartment is also being rented by another person who has connections to the father-in-law, who did some shady things there. Like I said, I said this earlier, it's a pregnancy horror, but the twist at the end is fairly unique. Anyway, a lot of the characters are very, very unlikable, except maybe Rachel herself. All the other characters are very unlikable. Hugh is okay, but he's a little pathetic. A little bit of a pushover, a weakling. I forgot his name. Was it Ted or something? Hugh's brother is a good guy, I guess, but he's lusting over his brother's wife. He's lusting over his sister-in-law. So that was nasty. And the father-in-law is one hell of a piece of work. He is the father of Hugh and Ted is one hell of a giant asshole who tries to redeem himself near the end, but doesn't really work. Anyway, would I recommend this read? Yeah, it's unique. If you're in, I heard that Douglas Clegg is an author with a very much online presence these days. So most of his books are digital. So if you're interested, if you are a fan of the horror author Douglas Clegg, you should check this one out. It's his second novel. His first one was a book called Goat Dance, published in 1987. That's me going off on a tangent there. So yeah, not much to say about this book. Go ahead and read it. And as you can see, the front cover. Oh yeah, the front cover looks like a paperback from hell. The red font on it, the red font, the unique text. Yeah, it's a typical 80s horror cover. Bye.